Welcome to the Cleaning with Purpose podcast. Today we're going to break down one of the biggest things that have happened, I would say in the last few years for Crystal Clean. That's this idea of construction cleaning and really bringing the talent, really building great systems and moving things forward with honesty, transparency, care, compassion, love, these kind of things. So to start off today's podcast, I'd love to talk about this idea of what a great business is. Two things that I've seen in my history now since the early 80s, where I started paying attention and built my own entrepreneurial endeavor with woodworking, then went into computers, then went into the internet business and retired early, all this really fun stuff in my life. Two big themes. The first big theme for any business who's exceptional is the creation, building, and sustaining of great relationships. The second big thing I noticed is the creation, building, and maintaining, and I would even say the iteration, the constant improving of great systems. So breaking down the systems part a little further, a lot of people are like, well, what is a system? A great system is simply the series of habits. And it's also a great series of these habits being executed with a great attitude. So when we think about in the world of systems, a lot of people pay a lot of money for a franchise. And what is a franchise? It simply is a documented set of great systems. And in the best franchises, they also tell you how to relate. If you ever look at a systems guide for Wendy's or a systems guide for McDonald's franchise or any of these bigger food service kind of businesses, you'll notice they tell you smile on your face, make sure that you take that extra beat, that extra second to ask, would you like anything else? Is there anything else I can do to help? And do that from your heart. And then the training of it all, if you ever step into that, they really go through an onboarding process that isn't just, hey, watch this video, tomorrow you can start. It's like a mentoring process over time. I keep thinking of what you and I have talked about in previous podcasts, the Crystal Clean University, this idea of assuring that when people are brought onto the team, that they're really aware of, and you've done the recruiting on the front end, but they're really aware of the values of Crystal Clean, and then they're really aware of what a system is. One of the big things we've shared in previous podcasts is the idea that the quality of service typically for cleaning companies varies over time. A lot of times cleaning companies will come in and they'll start out doing really, really great work. And then all of a sudden a shift change or something happens and they're like, wait a minute, were the cleaning people here last night? They didn't do that. So one of the things we've addressed in our previous podcast is this idea of lead techs. I think is how you referenced the lead tech.
We do have lead techs, yes, yeah. And account managers that they kind of play a very key middle role where they work with our cleaners, help train, coach, inspect, talk with the clients. We make sure they come and go intermittently to make sure that they're there to cover all those bases. Yeah.
So the biggest thing that I want to make sure that we landed out of the gate is this idea that no matter the service that Crystal Clean provides, our core philosophies are great relationships and great systems. And the relationship part is keeping that engagement, joy, connection, care, compassion, courage alive with the team over time. That's what I've learned is typically top down. I've noticed with Dave, with you, with the big players here at Crystal Clean, it's a top down thing. Everybody has that as part of their being. On the systems side, it's not only keeping them going, but it's also listening to feedback from customers and from team and lead techs and account managers to say, how can we make this thing work better, more efficient, to assure that we're delivering towards the outcomes of each service that we provide. So let's talk a little bit in the first part of our podcast about the relations, and then we'll go into the systems, but then we'll get into how it rolls into construction cleaning and what you've learned about that over the last few years. So let's unpack the relationships part. One of the things we were talking about pre-show was this idea of where in the world were we infused with values that help us understand what's right and wrong, and to live into and make a intentional commitment to live into the best of us and to recognize and even feel guilt for times where we're like, oh, I wasn't a good person. Like illustration, when I was in my teens, I had a bad temper. So if I wasn't in a temper state, I was a pretty good kid. But if you triggered me, watch out. I was in detention, out of school, in school suspension because I just reacted with fists. Wasn't good. So my pastor at my church, Pastor Hirsch, amazing guy. He's like, Char, here's a scoop. You're an A student and you're on your way to juvie. to a boy's.
If you don't change.
Yeah, if you don't change. And I go, what does that look like? And he goes, why do you work there? And let me just talk you through it. And if you want, we'll go tour it together. And I'm like, I don't need to go tour it. I get the message. So at that point, I made the change for that to be better relationally. And it literally took me 20 years to get it out of my system. It wasn't until my early 30s that it was completely gone. But I was right away not being reactive as much. It still felt the impulse, but I didn't live into it. And then I worked with him and with therapists and stuff to get that out of me. So that was a big illustration as we step into this conversation about, okay, if there are things that I'm not necessarily good at towards the way that I want to be in the world, that we're going to work on it. But backing up a minute, when we think about some of the values that make for great relationships, some of the ones that come to mind for me, care, compassion, well, empathy is a part of that, feeling what other people feel, but compassion takes it a step further to say, I feel what you feel, and I also feel that if you're struggling, I want to help alleviate it. It's the arc of sales, essentially. Then we have honesty, trust, respect, integrity. I'd even say great communication, good communicators. That's a value of great relationships. We also have this capacity, and I noticed this with you, and I just love this. I've noticed this since the day I met you. You have an incredible capacity to active listen. There's an active listening component where we're fully present and you're in a listening state. And you can tell when people are listening to reply versus they're listening to hear. Listening to reply is like you're waiting for the person to end because you want to talk and you can sense an energy there. But true people who practice active listening, which I believe Dave, the owner, does, you do, sales does, even the lead techs that I've met, strategy guys, all these people, there's a component to their being of active listening. So I know I've done a lot of talking so far. I want to lay the groundwork here. So I'd love for you to talk to us about how you and Crystal Clean have really built great relationships through the application of these values, but also where they come from. Like when you think of your history, where did you get right or wrong, and where did you get the infusion to do good and be part of teams that do good? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think yourself, Dave, and I, we'll start with these three. Similar model, raised similar timelines, Midwest. There's, religious influence, definitely.
Yeah.
And through the years, what you pull from and what you cling to and decide is your truth. I think we kind of similarly came together to know that when we do pay attention to other people's needs and try to get them what they want, in the end, we also get what we want, sort of the Zig Ziglar philosophy. But we believe in it. So from early on, I guess we all adopted the idea that leading with trying to be good and kind is at least the better way, the better path. And we probably, again, similar to you, have our scenarios of growing through problematic times where we didn't always perform that way or maybe even think that way. But I know now, solidly fixed, all of us would agree, we can get what we want out of life, but let's make sure that we're treating other people correctly and giving them what they want along the way. Yeah. And we're all going to be happier for it and get to a really good place. And so we're running the company that way.
I love that. And there's two parts to what you shared. Talked a little bit about this pre-show. There's an inherent part to you, Dave, and I that's growth-minded. There's another part that's ambition-oriented. So we're always looking to say, are we taking care of people the way that we want to be taken care of? Kind of the golden rule. But are we growing? And is there an opportunity to grow? Oh, and if we have to grow through the lens of adding more team to our group, let's find people who are value aligned through those lenses. And the cool part about the way the human brain works, this is my studies in psychology, the reticular activating system. This is a thing in psychology where if you get a white Tesla and you're driving down the road, all of a sudden you'll see white Teslas. But if you sit down every morning and you say, these are the values that are important to me, these are the values that are not, and I'll give you a couple examples there, growth-mindedness, ambition-oriented, loving energy. And on the bad side, we'll say blame, excuse, denial, gossip, drama, just negative energy. Our brain is looking for the good, and it attracts the good. So when we think about that through the lens of customer acquisition or meeting with a customer in a discovery session, as I call it, where we're just getting to know each other to see if we're a good fit, you can immediately feel resonance. You shared this pre-show too. So somebody said they did the research, they did the diligence, they did dozens of different bids and proposals, figuring out, or companies that could provide bids and proposals to figure out that you guys were the ones because I looked at your videos, maybe I don't know if they looked at the podcast, but they looked at the different things that have been produced to see if there was a resonance there. Any thoughts or takeaways with what I've shared?
Yeah, I mean, we're in agreement. What happens on our personal growth comes into our business, and you even use the word ambition, but I think all of us would go, but in a good way, right? We're driven with a purpose. Take care of our families. That's where our core values start with family. We know that all of us kind of come to work and have our goals because we're trying to take care of our family, but then we work together 40 plus hours a week, and we're family.
Yeah,
and that's how we view the people that we work with on a day-to-day basis. And I think the clients that we go out and meet with, not only are they kind of getting to know us, but it works the other way around, whether they know that this or like it. Sometimes you just go, no, I know this won't work, right? We're not on the same plane. We're not really looking to accomplish the same thing. And learning to pull away from those accounts and chase the work that makes good sense has always been part of our overall schematic for doing business as well. So.
I can't say enough about the reality of your growth, at least from my perspective, and maybe I'm wrong, but the reality of your growth through the lens of attracting great people. I'm talking about this from the team side, but I'm also talking about this from the customer side. If you go on the Crystal Clean website right now and you read the Finemark Bank testimonial, it's not like they did a great job. It's broken down to say, I have hunted my entire life, that's my interpretation of it, for a company that can do even part of what they do, and they deliver. And if we ever have a problem, we make a call and that problem's taken care of. Any thoughts with that piece to this puzzle about the attraction of great people and the attraction of great clients?
Again, even Finemark Bank is a really good storyline for us. We love to promote it, and Blaine is the client who wrote that, and good relationship.
Yeah,
he feels probably similar to us in all these conversations, but he's easy to work with. If there is a problem, and of course there's been problems, he knows we're going to be quick to take care of it. I think it's always the next best thing you could do. And often that's what promotes the relationship. If they just see the day-to-day and it's very consistent, that's great. But when there is a problem and you come in and step up and do what you need to do, usually that builds the relationship. So we've had some of that. And now we've got a couple of years under our belt where the dynamic there is as good as it gets. You wish you had more clients like Blaine and more accounts like Finemark. And we have plenty of really good ones, but that one stands out. And it is relationship-based more than work performance even.
Yeah. But the idea is that these two things tie into each other, is that you can have great relationships and have really cruddy service. Yeah, I'm probably going to let you guys go. But we are hitting the pillars, and the way that we think about great service, and going back to the other part of our discussion today, is great systems, such that if a new person comes on or a person's out sick, there isn't a degradation in service. There's a very clear path with a very clear visualized outcome of how this is going to work. Think of it like a checklist. It's basically a system. And then think of the other side of it, like in that checklist it says, be a good person. And maybe it's articulate, kind of like we were talking about with the franchise, with some of the food places like Wendy's or McDonald's. So we're really trying to tie that together. So on the great relationship side, I think we've done a good job in our discussion so far, really articulating, breaking down what it looks like, what it feels like, both from the business side, top down to employees, and then on the attraction of customer side. It's just so fun when you get into like somebody calls you, and I'm sure you felt this, and they're like, I saw your stuff, and they're skeptical and they're tiptoeing into it. Then they meet you, and you can just see a switch flip. I don't know if you ever noticed this. You see a switch flip, and they say in their mind, these are my people. It's on. Let's go. Just because there's a body language parallel to your like articulated language out of your mouth that is so in tune with what they want to feel, taking care of, moving things forward, those kind of things. Now when we bring in, and this is something I think I've noticed is a big part of your superpower outside of the relationship work, is the systems part, is really making sure we've got great systems and we have great people in play to strategize, plan, and act to those systems, and then have that growth mindedness and mission oriented. So let's switch the conversation a little to the systems here. In your mind, when you think about systems, anything come to mind like what makes a great system, how the systems have evolved, the Crystal Clean commitment to systems? What shows up there for you?
Yeah, and evolve is a good word. So systems process start with the employees, really. When you want to put together Legos is a good example, right? Block by block, and you can make almost anything. And if you start down a wrong path, fail fast, correct it, bring in different Legos, recreate. Yeah. So I feel like we've been doing that a little bit, and we continue to refine the process for educating our cleaners, helping them know that they joined a company who believes in family client company, that we want to help them succeed. If we can help them with, even in our particular case, citizenships, language, it helps them become better cleaners and helps them reach also levels of being able to manage and make more money and things that are important to them. So we try to let them know early on, if you join the team, you're part of a family, we want to help you. So as you work through this process, and we put together Crystal Clean University to help educate, and we start to build our lead techs to be stronger, more facilitated to helping the cleaners understand this. It's been a little bit of a building block process, but we are really doing so much better. Like you said, we've attracted good people. Our operations team and the lead techs and account managers and cleaners, therefore, everything is a constant state of improvement. And you don't ever expect that to stop. You go, it is a state of improvement. We've adjusted, we've grown. We see we have more good people. We have a team we really like, but you hope to always say that. A year from now, go, boy, we've grown some more and we've really made some strides and we just keep doing better. Yeah. And that's kind of how we feel right now, that you just take the last 5 years as a window and go, we've grown, we keep getting better. And that's what processes and systems are for us. You go, we just want to keep getting better. And we know that does equate to more business as well. So it works together. The volume of the company works around and rotates around the people. And I know it's a little cliche. You go, it's about the people. But it really is. Our cleaners need to be able to clean, and they need to feel good about it. And that starts with who is leading them. And so the lead techs are very important. And then the operations team, the dynamics of a cleaning company and what we have going on every day. The details are incredible. Yeah. So to have a couple of key people sitting there just watching the windows of who's where and what can we do to, fill this role and get this done. And there's always a phone call that something's happened, someone's missing, something else came up that needs to be done on an account. It is nonstop. So I'm super impressed with the operations team. And therefore, as we get in the good people who are making it happen, we're very proud of them. And it's part of why we can do all the other things.
The biggest things I want to take out of what you just shared, this is some pure gold. And I would always challenge the listener to think about it. If I'm running a business or thinking about running a business, these are principles that we need to apply. One is there's an inherent shift in people's psychology, especially when you bring people in. Some people that we hire, I have to go to work. I have to do this. But if we change the dynamic of their language to I get to do this, it's the I have to versus I get to language. I get to do this, and I get to do this in an environment where they actually care for my well-being. They actually care for me as a person, meaning Crystal Clean cares for their well-being as the employee. That's a different part. And I just love the fact that one of the big things that I've seen you fly, if it isn't like a big flag that you fly virtually, is this idea that I actually do care about your psychology, and I do care that you're on a growth path. And that's a huge part. Any other comments on the I get to versus I have to ideal in that regard?
Cleaning, as most people know, most people don't look forward to going and cleaning their toilet or their sink or their house. Helping them with the idea that we are being paid to go in and accommodate people to feel more safe, more secure, that if we pay attention to the right details, like when you come and go from an office, sometimes just making sure little things, that the trash is empty and the floor is, vacuum swept, mopped to the appropriate level. They're actually relatively simple things to accomplish, but they're a purpose to helping the people that we perform the work for feel safe and secure and comfortable. And if you smile at them and wave and come and go and carry out these tasks, you get to go home with good peace of mind, feeling good, and money at the end of the week. So it's not just you have to go clean 2,000 square foot of office space today. Yeah, we try to establish that very early. And like I said, some people really latch onto it and are like, wow, this is different than anywhere else I've ever done this before. And not always, but we're looking for those cleaners who really get it and want to achieve more.
The part I love about what you shared is, and I know this for me, I have such reward if I clean my bathroom, for example, the sparkle at the end. We had a bigger house that had like an acre of land. And I used to got on my John Deere tractor, mowed the lawn, did the edging. And I got done with it and I just sat in its awe and go, I made this look awesome.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So these are the kind of traits, though, that we're looking to attract.
Yeah, the accomplishment, the mindset of going, hey, I get to do this and it's going to be the best ever. That's always the end game. And we apply that to ourselves. I'm like you. You go, well, it needs to be done. How fast can I do it? How good can I do it? Let me try the 45 degree on my yard today. Let me try a new product and see if it shines. Let me put sparkle in my pool and go, wow. And you want cleaners to think that way because they, some of it is about timing, some of it is about work. But in the end, if they take on the mentality to go, I'm going to crush it.
Yep.
That's what you want.
The essence of it, and I want people to take this away too, is we ask the question, what can I do to make this fun? What can I do to make the outcome of this exceptional? So if anything out of our podcast today, people take from it, 2 questions to increase the quality of life, whether you're in a job or whether you're just living life. What can I do to make this fun? What can I do to make it exceptional? And when you have that capacity, that's a great way to increase quality of relationship and also a great way to increase system, to really bring in the fun and the exceptional piece. And another way of thinking of what it means to make something exceptional is what can I do to make this world class? And then have some frame for what world class can be.
I'll tell you something interesting that I notice. The cleaners that I would say work the hardest, and we have a couple that we could name and go, this guy he doesn't have a slow mode. He works hard no matter what he's doing. It's just he's just on it. Go, go, go. Not everybody has that much energy. So all things being relative, but what I notice is the people that take on the mindset are the happiest. People that come back after working really hard in a new construction clean or in a really big project together, and they know they've put in a good day's work.
Yeah,
they're the happy ones. Sluggish people are also typically not as happy.
It's interesting when there's a tell there, and it's awesome when we have enough life history to be able to almost call that out. For example, I'll go into a business that I'm doing a discovery session with. That's where I go in and explore, kind of like you do with a quote. Are we going to be a good fit for them? Maybe we can definitely do the work, but are we actually a good fit relationally? And when I get in there and I notice that the front desk person is not exactly, we'll say, engaged, not exactly nice, I'm like, oh, this is the tell right out of the gate. Because I always feel like the front desk person is a representation from top down of what the company's culture is.
I agree. That company culture shows pretty quickly.
And maybe that person, guy or girl, is having a bad day or whatever it is, but that's it. So we really have to be careful as we think about and articulate what it is to create, build, and sustain great relationships, and what it is to create, build, sustain, and iterate great systems. One thing I want to circle back on, another thing that I just love about what you shared, is there is a Crystal Clean University. There is, and so for a lot of people that are listening to this, there is an onboarding process that has an installation of Crystal Clean's values and the way we approach work. That's part of the process of getting into the Crystal Clean team and becoming a fully functioning team member. Can you expand a little bit on that? Crystal Clean University and that part of this and where that maybe was born, or maybe it was amplified through your work? I don't know exactly how that's evolved.
In our conversations early on about how to bring people in and onboard them and make them feel more engaged, and bring in the training component, the word training comes in. I used one of your marketing tools from early on. You go, let's have a good name for it. And Crystal Clean University is what came to mind. So then we started to make our own videos. And then we started to research videos online. And of course, there's many out there. But mostly we create our own because we really want to start with the fundamentals. You come in and we want you to have the right attitude and the right expectation and know how this works. Here's have some water, some soda, coffee, sit down. Can we get you a snack? They get to meet team members while they're here.
Yeah.
And that's important. Again, cleaners could be told day one, you go there. You're assigned out to clean over that place. Instead, I'm like, let's bring them in here. Make sure we, just for a day, pay them to come in and do nothing but walk around and meet people. Take in Crystal Clean University, which is really, you total up the videos right now that we expect them to watch. It's about an hour and a half of multiple different videos, none of them over 10 minutes. And so they'll walk you through the fundamentals of cleaning. There's just certain procedures on what type of cleaner to use, how we go about with our mopping. Don't think about the old ringer mops anymore. Think microfiber and think about neutral cleaners and disinfectants and sanitizers in a whole new way. Here's how we do it, and this is what you're going to learn when you go through the warehouse. They get a tour of the warehouse. These are the products that you'll be using. So we try to educate them with a good set of fundamentals and also get to know us while they're here. And I think that social part is every bit as important as the educational part. When they get to meet Dave and John and Jeff and Charlie, if he's here, and you go, this is the team around you, the support team. Always feel free to call Infi or Oxari or Jani, Sergio, Fred. They get to meet the people face to face. We get them their shirts and their lanyards, and like I said, try to make them feel special in the moment. I think the social component is just as important, so they feel like they've just joined the team.
Oh, I love that. One thing is a takeaway that we've learned through the onboarding process, especially if there's videos involved, is that after they've watched, it could be 10 minutes, one of the videos, could be half an hour of videos, is to have them give you 3 breakthroughs, thoughts, insights, to share 3, and then 2 things they're committed to. A lot of people that have onboarding processes are watching their new hires go through the process, and they're like, they think they got it, but I'm not sure. So if we make it a socialized learning, go through the videos, maybe it's all the videos, if it's an hour and a half, would love for you to share 3 major insights that you had and why. And you could put a character limit on it, like 200 words each, or 200 characters, but probably words. And then I want you to share 1, 2, or 3 things you're going to apply into your workflow based on what we've trained. And that's the socialized piece to that. Because what happens if that's said in advance of the employees learning through the onboarding process, they watch the information differently. Oh, I'm going to be quizzed on this? Oh. Yeah. So this is something that I've noticed as we apply what I call high-performance principles into the learning journey. And a high-performance principle is socialized learning. Also socialized deadlines. So a socialized deadline is where you'll tell them, listen, you can go back to your house and watch these videos, but you need to tell us what your deadlines are. So when you're going to have them watched, when you're going to report out the 3 insights you've gained and 2 things you're committed to from the videos. You feel the difference there in terms of integration?
I do, yeah. Mental note taken. We need to add that to the curriculum.
Yeah, it's fun because they'll send you, and sometimes people just do that through email, right? Or text me what you learned and text me 3 things that you found insightful and 2 things you're committed to. And when they share that with you, they're like, here's why. Because if they're the performer that we want them to be through this little onboarding process, in the case of an hour and a half of videos, they're going to be pretty articulate about it because they want to make sure they're doing it right. If you get the answer of, yeah, I learned that you guys are good, I'm committed to being good, well, maybe we need to go back through the onboarding process again. That's not exactly the depth and articulation that we're looking for. Takeaways, thoughts, insights, what I've shared.
No, I definitely do want to incorporate that. You're right. To watch it with a different view, knowing that afterwards there's a little expectation, we'll bring it up.
Yeah, and if this is another takeaway for you and for so many people that have onboarding processes are going to build that as part of their systems, is that if there's a group of people that are going through the onboarding process the same day, get them in the room for half an hour afterwards, and then they share their 3 things and 2 things they're committed to. And you have all of them take notes on the other people's. And then you have them reiterate of everything they learned from the group. What are some things that are major takeaways? And there's a difference because people do not like to show up after going through that. Well, I only got 1. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And they're really committed to the integration of it. The other side to it is, and going back to the relational side, is they feel like they're part of a group, a team. There's an understanding. Of course, the pre-frame is set. Whatever you find as an insight and whatever you're committed to, please be accepting of that as a group. We're not here to judge. We're not here to ridicule. We're not here to discount anything that shows up for you. Whatever it is, it's your reality. We're good with that. Are we cool with being cool with each other? There's a big part of that relational system for the onboarding process. One of the things that we teach in high-performance coaching is this idea of socialized learning, socialized deadlines, co-creation, collaboration, teamwork, and the infusing of values from the top down. Thoughts on that? Pretty good?
Want to put it to work. And the other thing that we'll do, we'll keep making better videos and a better process, because the feedback that we do get ultimately go, you know what we're finding, and then we'll start to tweak and fine tune, which is a constant effort on our part anyway.
The cool part is this. If you are active listening, you do. If you hear a common question that wasn't answered or that was sparked from the onboarding, we just sit down and make that video. Hey, one of the big questions we have, that might be part of the last part of the onboarding video training. These are the common questions you've asked, and these are the additional videos we've made to accommodate those. And that is another level of insight, another level of action for you. One of the big things I learned through my work in video work, 2008, 9, 10, 11, was it's so much better for me, instead of helping people, especially now with AI, but back then it was just kind of SEO and those kind of things. Rather than me answering everybody with a long email or templatizing the email, I just answered on video. And I work to be, they call it speak extemporaneous on video, meaning I don't have a teleprompter or notes. And I just answer the question. And it could be 2 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. And then I put that question back to them and say, listen, I just created a video for you, and I'm going to roll it out in rotation on YouTube and within our intranet or whatever that might be to help our team as well. So it was like, take question, what can I do to bring my vibrance into this? Maybe pepper in some of the values, depending on what the question is. Maybe pepper in some knowledge, wisdom, skill, whatever that looks like, and then put it back out. So this is another takeaway for you and for others is like, okay, if we're getting common questions after they're through the onboarding process, I'm going to write them down, and I'm going to do one topic, one question per video, and we'll roll that back into the onboarding process. The reason this is mission critical, especially for Crystal Clean, but for everybody in general, is this is iteration of systems. This is saying we are so committed to your growth that when you ask us a question, we're like, oh, I guess I didn't cover that well enough, or it wasn't covered at all. We're going to put it right back in the system. So as we refine that, that grows. Another thing from the onboarding process that we've noticed with high-performing teams is they have them, much like the nursing industry has CEUs, continuing education units, credits, you have to have a certain number. They'll have their team go back through the onboarding videos every quarter, report 3 insights and 2 more things they're committed to. They hear it a different way if they're in the system.
Right.
Does that all make sense? So quarterly, we're doing reviews of that. And by then, if you're integrating an iteration of it, there's going to be new content as well that can be very helpful. So just kind of giving you some high-performance themes and the people listening some high-performance ideas. Any takeaways, thoughts, anything you're committed to through what I've just shared, Jeff?
It needs to be incorporated into our Crystal Clean University. So thank you, Charlie. We enjoy Charlie's visits. That's outside of you being here. Dave and I are like, well, Charlie, we always learn something, and the guy really knows his stuff. So
thank you so much.
Appreciate you sharing that, because that will only improve what we're already doing.
Yeah.
Like we're making the effort, and that's going to be an improvement.
So when you think about Crystal Clean 2025 and really amplifying quality, why is this important to us? Why is it important for, no matter how they are, whether they're interacting with you or the team, or whether they're going back through, let's just say quarterly this, what's the essence of importance of really building out this Crystal Clean vibe cross spectrum with some consistency? What does that look like?
I told you we have kind of a new team at play, new by comparison to a year or more back. We have a relatively new team, especially in operations, and there's been kind of a new mindset. So being 100% honest, part of the answer is Dave has given 34 years to building Crystal Clean. And he came up on a vision of making it even bigger and better and creating a little bit of a cleaning empire, if you will, in Southwest Florida. And I think because of key players that have come into the process in the last few years, Dave saw that it's time to make it a reality. So part of my motivation is let's help Dave build his dream. I love that he can be the entrepreneur, empire builder, and go. I've always kind of played the role, honestly, of support. I'm that guy. I'm the sidekick in the movie to John Wayne, maybe.
I love it.
If I could create that analogy, I never wanted to be the superstar. That's honest. And so I like helping Dave build his dream. That's part of my motivation. But beyond that, like you said, you have to go back to all the fundamentals and go, let's make it the right kind of company, the right kind of vision and dream, and have people share it with us. And other things take care of themselves. I mean, we all work for money. We could never get away from the white elephant in the room of, pay scale and who gets what from this. And that takes care of itself too. As long as we're doing all things right, that will take care of itself because we'll have the volume to support whatever needs to happen to keep the right people in, keep it growing, and keep clients happy. And it's that full circle. So it's not to discount anyone's need. We all have needs.
Yeah.
I think that we can do it all, and that's what makes it fun.
Wow. That's an amazing answer to the why. I love it. Big part of this, I want to wrap this part up to kind of bundle up the relational and systems part, and then we'll dive into construction cleaning, is how we apply great relationships and great systems into a particular area of our business. Is this idea, and this is something I came up with over the years, primarily it came from me coaching. Now I've coached, I want to say I'm probably at 7,000 or 8,000 sessions. This is 60-minute sessions of high performance. There's a very clear curriculum. I've been doing this since March. I think it was March of 2013 when I got certified. Is these 5 Ps of a truly exceptional business, but also individual. And this is, keep in mind, this is through the lens of entrepreneurialism, small business, and so on. These 5 Ps. The first one is we have a purpose. At the top end of any purpose in anybody's life, whether they're in an entrepreneurial endeavor or whether they're just living life, is to improve the quality of their life and others. So I want to improve my life and I want to improve other people's lives. Like a lot of people have shared with me, I'm just a mom. I'm a full-time mom. I'm like, you are improving the quality of what I would classify as a legacy. I believe I have 2 girls. I believe that my kids are my only real legacy I'm going to leave. When I got clear on that in the early 10s, it changed the way I was as a dad. I wasn't a distracted dad. I was more of an engaged, interactive dad, looking for opportunity to exchange wisdom. That's purpose. On the business side, a purpose is to grow somebody's business. So when we kind of raise up the purpose through improving the quality of my life and others' lives and grow a business, I just feel with what we've shared so far today, this is what Crystal Clean's all about. That's the first P, purpose. Second P is passion. Are we emotionally engaged and enthused about what we do? And again, there's going to be times where we're not. That's okay. The third P is positivity. Are we bringing the joy? Am I get to or am I have to? The fourth P is productivity. And productivity ties right to the systems work we did today. The idea that if we're going to be an ultra productive towards specific outcomes for us and for our customers, then we're going to need an onboarding process. We're going to need a deeper level of integration of what that onboarding process teaches us and trains us. And that's the footprint or the fingerprint of our business, that its uniqueness lies within the way we onboard and the way we live to the relational and systems that we create. If those first 4 Ps, purpose, passion, positivity, productivity, are dialed in, and we're clear about what we offer, we can create profit. And that's the last P. What I've taught a lot of business owners is that when we get clear on what we offer and we're priced right, and we just park that over here and we live into the behaviors to build the business, increase customers, increase total sales, and we live into the first 4 Ps, the last one happens automatically. And I've noticed that with the way you guys are running. We got a very clear thing. I've been near you when you've sent a proposal. You're like, what is happening right here? Should we send that? Yes. Do you think we'll get it? I don't know. And then it comes back and you got it and you're like,
Dave's standing over here going, what's the worst that can happen? Send it. And then I'll send it. And then Dave, because he's a comedian, is like, well, wait. Just to get a little start out of me. But no, we've had it's fun. That part of the business is fun. This is fun. And that's where, like I said, not every moment is joy. Sometimes it's hard work. But in general, you go, do we have fun and do we enjoy what we do? And everything you said, years ago, I just kind of came up with my own simplified motto of, I'm going to try to do the right things and I know that I'll get the right results. I don't have to focus on the results if I'm doing the right things. And it really is your 5 Ps.
Lived out.
Which is a better definition of that,
Yeah, well, the thing that I love about the 5 Ps, and I hope this is a takeaway for people listening, is that you can put them in a line item, like on a spreadsheet, and you can rate it. Did I live purposely today? And of course, 0, not at all, 10, crushed it. What felt purposeful today? What am I going to do that feels more purposeful tomorrow? Simple. Every day. Think about that 365 days a year. By the end of the year, purpose is going to be top of mind.
Right.
You're going to be thinking about it without asking it. It's just a part of your daily ritual. It's subconscious. Did I live passionately today? Where did my energy, did I get my sleep? Did I get my hydration? Did I eat nutrient rich? Did I exercise? These are some of the baselines for feeling some energy.
Actually, I keep those in my calendar.
Yeah. And then the next piece, am I bringing joy? Today's going to stink. Typically, I'm going into the day, I have to do all this. I get to do this. That's a flip on the joy switch, right? What am I doing today to be productive? There's a technique that we teach in high performance called done by one. Get all the meaty stuff you got to get done today, aim to have it done by one. The rest of the day is yours. Imagine a world where you have a bunch of proposals, and you got meetings and everything, you get them all done by one, and then from 1 to 5, you're just calling customers, hey, is everything going okay? Anything we can do? Or you're going on site and visiting them, like field trip. So done by one is a big thing towards productivity. And then that profitability, as long as we're clear on what we're offering, and all conversations lead to that if they're supposed to, meaning when we're discovering whether we can support somebody or not, and we got a clear path for proposals and all that, this stuff just is in motion. And that's something that I really work with teams to bring to this. And a lot of times we run into psychological blockers like, we could never create that. I go back to that proposal. It's like got an extra zero on it, maybe as opposed to what Crystal Clean's been used to. And Dave in your center, and you're like, should I send it? Yep. Oh, wait. And it felt to me in that particular instance that you guys were all dialed in on the first 4, and then the P part, the profit part, you're just like, is this real right here? And then you hit it. And the good news is, at least what you shared with me, is you landed it. Is that true?
We've had several like that. Yeah. New and bigger and different accounts. And I guess that's where, you know, together we've created a dynamic to go, hey, we're not scared. What do you got? Let's see what we can do. And we've landed some nice ones.
The big thing I want to celebrate as we wrap up the relational and system side is you have the capacity and the belief because of the great relationships, because you're proficient in the creation of systems on demand. This is an art. You get into a job and it's new. We're talking construction cleaning because construction is going nuts here in Southwest Florida. And you're like, you know what? This is a bigger job than we've had. So we got to take what we know about our systems and we got to expand it to handle one of the big ones that we just toured, the big what is it? Winkler?
It's the new Suncoast Beverage.
That's it.
World headquarters out at MLK and Ortiz.
What's the total square feet?
Being headed up by Arco National, and from that we've also gotten work with Arco Murray. Anyway, I digress. Yeah,
so but the size of it,
that one's about 90,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's like what I'm talking about. That's like probably bigger than anything you've ever done before. Is that true, or do you know?
With the added warehouse space and maintenance shop in the back, it actually, if I took total square footage of the entire plant, it's like 200,000 square feet. 90,000 of it is our primary cleaning focus. And, so yeah, it's the biggest project we've ever had.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that when we think about what we've been sharing here so far in our podcast, there is a belief that, whoa, this is massive. But with the talent set, our belief in ourselves, the power of great relationships, the power of building great systems. And sometimes we got to take a system we've got that, let's just say it's for 10,000 square feet, and we're going to need to think bigger. Okay, cool. Got this. Let's figure it out. Together, we'll figure it out.
And it's a relationship story first and foremost. It really is. In every
you want to
way.
break that down a little bit?
Well, it was a referral to start. I had a post-construction clean out at the airport with a guy named Joey Champion that worked for a different company and knew Neil Wiseman, who is overseeing the new Suncoast Beverage plant, and it was early. He's like, you should go talk to Neil. Go talk to Neil face to face. Starts off the relationship, and he kind of buys in to going, I think these guys will do a good job for us. Still have to win the proposal, which we do, and then as we're going through a project like that, as you know, there are moments you go, come on, things happen, and consistently the relationship is always the salvation. First of all, we send people in to do a good job. We start with that mindset. If anything happens, we're quick to get on the phone with Neil or one of his assistants, and they're cool about letting us chat through it. Here's what we're going to do. Here's the correction. And we've worked through the whole process like that. We're actually going to be wrapping it up, the contract itself this week, and we'll be there for about another 4 weeks, just helping make sure we facilitate getting the tenants in, which is Suncoast Beverage. And the relationship is what carries it all out. But then, back to the process, you know what? We have found some excellent cleaners in this process, people that are new to us and being put out there. We have found people who we had, but we put them out there on a regular basis, and they get to know the client, and the client gets to know them. There's a relationship level that's happening on site that totally boosts our performance in our client's eyes, because he's like, wow, these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know how awesome they were. But now there's been enough time go by and they're performing every day. And he has like 2 of our people that are they're right there with him. Like, here's what I need. And you can't have a better system, process, and relationship than what's happening in a job like that. So that's what we're always after.
Yeah.
They're not always that big and that grand and that good all put together, but that one is.
A couple things that come out of this. One is, you were just sharing the power of referrals. It's planting great stays with other people, and them sharing with you, hey, go talk to this guy. You didn't sit on that. You took action on that. And you went out and brought the relational qualities of you to them, helped them understand what your capacity were in. If we get in and we are blessed to do this work, we're going to grow. And if there's any problems, we're going to handle them. The part that circles back to what we covered today is there was a massive iteration of systems that happened on demand with customer and Crystal Clean interaction. Oh, there's a problem with that? Let's rethink that cleaning solution. Let's rethink that cleaning approach, and let's put it in play. And there's open communication around that. Is that true?
Oh, very true. Yeah.
That's something that I know that you know this, but so many businesses get that wrong. They'll hit the call, see the voicemail, they're not happy. I'll handle it tomorrow. But it sounds like if somebody's calling, we're on it right now, we're working through it. Literally maybe having a solution within a few minutes to the day to implement tomorrow. Is that true?
Yeah. One of my mentors early on taught me time kills deals. Don't let time go by. If they're ready, go talk to them. And
gold nugget.
You make time. Yeah.
Thanks for that nugget of gold. Time kills deals.
And it does. Yeah.
So right behind you is a living diagram of what you just shared. And it says, build relationships, the managers to the lead techs, to the clients, to the cleaners. And there's arrows going between everybody up there on that board.
Yeah.
And so it's sitting right here. It's all sitting right here. It's the vision here, the strategy, the plan, and the implementation or the action is living it. And I'm glad that we're talking through, this is all part of the secondary purpose of today's podcast, is the application of great relationships and great systems that are being iterated into construction cleaning. So as we really pivot to more construction cleaning oriented conversation, and we think about great systems and great relationships, what you just shared was an exceptional example of getting a job that felt maybe, I don't know if it did for you, but it felt like it did on my end. Felt a little scary to hit that enter button to send that email with a proposal.
It was one of those, yeah.
Yeah. And then we just stepped into it. But the commitment on our end was we're going to be great relationally. We didn't even know that our techs that are relatively new, because we're growing so fast, we're making great relationships according to that big diagram. And then as problems came up, and they will, we're sitting here and iterating on it to make this thing better and better and better as we move across time. Any other things you want to add to this?
No, it's wonderful learning curves happen when you take on, even things that are unknown to start. You learn as you go, and this is a place that all the OSHA regulations apply, and they're there and they're on site, and it makes a difference as to your PPE. It makes a difference as to your performance on lifts and windows, and I'll share a black eye story because it's truth. We had some cleaners, and no fault of their own. This you go, well, training. We should have trained them better. So a lot of glass. So the exterior glass is one story. We learned a little bit about that, which came out just fine. But, again, learning curves coming at you. And I love that we've been through them. We'll only be better for it. But on the interior glass, we had some people who really hadn't been fully trained on glass. And you want to be careful never to scratch glass. I know that sounds simple, but they also have stickers and construction debris. And sometimes the best way to go about it is to scrape it. And usually, hopefully a plastic scraper with a little bit of solution will do it. Sometimes you get into a razor, and if you have the razor, this is where the training comes in. Really sharp, fresh razor, really delicate in the task, because you will scratch the glass, and that's what happened. So we scratched the glass. One of those moments, your team scratched our glass, and it's interior, and it's by the executive offices, and okay, you know what? We accept responsibility for it, and we replaced it. We were cleaning it yesterday because we got the fresh glass in. We cleaned it yesterday, and we're right back on track. And every conversation we've had has been positive. And so I said we're coming up to the end now. everybody's feeling really good in the moment because this has been a long project for our customer and a pretty long project for us in the way of a construction clean. And now that it's coming to an end, I can say successfully. And that was one of the things that we learned. You cannot stop and blame the cleaners in the moment. You go, that was training. That was on us. And we're going to take care of it. And we did. So like I said, when you can't perform perfectly up front, the next best thing is taking care of it. And I think that's what keeps us going with all of our clients that have been with us for 10 years, 20 years on the recurring accounts, and even 30 on some. So
wow, okay. Wow, that's a massive story that lives right into the principles of what we talked through. Systems, okay, we got something to add. And that might be a 10-minute video now. Back into the Crystal Clean University. If you're going to clean glass, and maybe it's already in there, maybe it needs to be updated, then here's some things you need to think about. And here's an illustration of how that went wrong once, and it was on us, and we got to make that better. The other side is the great relationship side. Got it. Okay. Sorry that happened. We'll take care of it and moving forward. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to go into a little more depth. Can you break down, when you think about the construction cleaning that you do, that your team is best equipped for categorically? So we talked about the big 90,000 square foot to 200,000 square foot realm. Can you share a little more, articulate a little more around what the kind of cleaning jobs you do so we have a better idea of what those look like?
Yeah, I think the first breakout is just, the difference between commercial and residential. Most people would immediately go, okay, so commercial, more on the business class side. So I build out on, we've done a lot of everything from storage units to warehouses, but a lot of office spaces. So office spaces and the commercial side, I think is our ultimate sweet spot. These are construction companies that are putting together medical facilities or offices that are going to be leased out, usually by a tenant that's going to come in with a pretty high expectation, and so they want to make sure they get it done right. They don't want to just go out and find somebody who's new to construction cleaning. They like to know that the process. So to start that off, like I said, when we meet with people or have the opportunity, even email early on, I'll send them something that shows them how we go about taking on a construction clean project. And there's very specific things that I think they should look for if they don't know, and most of them do. These are people with some experience. That's why they're in this arena. You're going to start with a rough clean. There's always the debris side, and even the ones that keep the cleanest of sites. You're going to come into a lot of dust and debris that you need to clean off once, and it's going to resettle and be up to a point where now we want to do a really full, what we call final clean. And after that, we're going to walk and inspect it together, and then we'll do a touch-up clean, or a lot of people call it a buff clean. We understand these exist, and even when I get pushback, I will push back on the pushback to go, no, it's a construction clean. You're going to have these three phases. And on smaller projects, we do some residential. As you can imagine, Captiva and Fort Myers Beach, there's been residences with contractors who are like, man, I need a good post-construction clean. And that's been a nice part of our business. We're happy to do that. And those we kind of can fit all together sometimes in one day. If you have a 2,000 to 3,000 square foot home, I'll send in a full team, and we'll do all of that in one day. By the end of the day, it's taken care of because we can just kind of scale the team appropriately. And on the bigger projects, you're talking multiple days. So you kind of factor the team to go in and do the rough clean and what that's going to take. And not all are the same. The battles with construction clean. So again, being clear up front, and I think the client recognizes that we come in with some experience and we're going to speak truth because there's no reason not to. We're going to be fighting around other tradesmen. You're going to ask us to come in and clean before you're actually done with the project because you have a timeline where everybody's going to be working right up to the point where the tenant comes in. And that means areas that we've cleaned, we come in and do a rough clean, you still have a lot of trades happening, and they're getting it dirty again as they go. And I know you ask them to pick up after themselves and try to leave it the way it is, but that adds to the formula for doing a good post-construction clean. So all of my best clients, and we've been building them, and I know that's why this is working, it resonates with them that we understand what's about to happen. Instead of complaining about it once we get in here, we have the conversation in advance. We're going to be working around other tradesmen. And so that room that we just cleaned got dirty again. Yeah. We're going to go back and clean it. I'm factoring all of this in. And if you don't believe me, you haven't been cleaning, or you haven't been in construction for very long, because that's going to happen. And I don't know about all of my competitors. Again, I've done my research, and I love finding other people that are big in post-construction cleaning and willing to share that knowledge online. And I think we have found a path to go, you want me to clean up things that a painter left behind or somebody got a little messy or sloppy over here. You're not really looking to call them back. So in some cases, it's bad enough you need to do that, and they can back charge it. In other cases, you want us just to take care of it. These are the nuances that go, you need to add some time for all of that. And in the end, here's the hours I think we'll spend in each of these areas and categories. And that sets us off on a proposal that can be signed off on. And of course, there's hourly rates if they want us to do other and extra things. And often what happens, I try to price it right where it's a walk away, we're done, and they like that. Because I've offered time and materials to people, and they don't want that. Nobody wants you just to work like a runaway train on time and materials. They're afraid of what might happen. So they want a firm proposal. So I try to price it so that I think this is what it's going to take to completion. If it goes beyond that for any given reason, we kind of have an understanding at this point. The relationship part kicks back in. The process for everything else, but the relationship is the understanding that if we've cleaned it through this process and it's dirty again, we'll go back and clean it for you. We spend extra time on things where tradesmen got kind of sloppy, and that's billable time. And I've really never had any hardcore problems, arguments. We discern that together, and that's part of the beauty of this. I try to price it where I know some of that's going to come up, but if it goes beyond what any of us think would be normal expectation, we agree together. There's just extra billable hours at the end. These are all conversations we have up front, and it's made all the difference for me on why the contractors of the world that are out there on the big commercial projects really understand it. I think they appreciate this conversation and why we keep winning more of that business. And outside of that, like I said, we do all kinds of post-construction cleaning, but I think that would be our particular zone for what we get more of and what we kind of chase.
One thing that I love about what you shared is this fact of the reiteration of education. The value that we haven't talked about in the great relationship part is courage. You have the courage to step up and tell them, listen, this is how it actually is. This is what you really need to be considering. And I'm just knowing, because I know you very well, I'm knowing you deliver that positively, sternly, if you have to. Is that true?
Yeah, you hope to come off that way. And I think all of us, if we talk to someone about a service, you want them to be really knowledgeable. That helps. We feel better if they seem knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So you want to come off knowledgeable and not bullheaded and not stubborn about if they don't want to fall in line with how a post-construction clean works, then usually the deal falls apart as well.
I just love the dance, the nuance you had. It was like, this is the reality. This is how you need to be thinking. And these are some of the options. We can do that, time and materials, but who knows where that goes, because it could be unlimited, and then you get a surprise.
Yeah, I've offered it, and I'm at a point where...
let's just get in front of it and educate you on the front side of it. And that's the living example of great relationships and great systems. We learn, we integrate, and we apply immediately. And that's a big part of the cyclical part of the growth of Crystal Clean, in my opinion. So the big part that I also wanted to cover here was, what's the process look like for a person calling us, emailing us, putting in our contact form on the website? When that hits you, what's the next steps for them just so they have a frame for what that experience can look like?
Yeah. Well, in the wish list at the very beginning, we want them to call us early.
Okay.
The more time we have, the better.
Yeah.
Often, as you know, calendars get away from people. So in the world of construction, you'll have estimators on the early end. And sometimes we get in at that point, and that's nice. The estimator then leads us to the project manager that might then lead us to the site superintendent. But often what happens is the site superintendent is the one on point going, we got to start cleaning next week. And probably 80% of our calls start like that.
So they're in an immediate need.
Yeah, not ideal, but it's what happens. Calendars get away from people. And time pressure for deadlines and schedules is a very real part of construction, period. And so post-construction cleaning is at the end part of that, where they've kind of been doing all the other things they need to do. And so I think the reality is, while I would love to have people call us earlier, and sometimes they do, it's often, we're going to need it started next week. Can you do that?
Yeah.
So I've never been one to say no. I believe in either we can or we can't, and I'm willing to check with the team to figure it out. Okay. So we kind of start with that. And then we've been able to build other processes within the company framework to facilitate post-construction cleaning at a higher level because we've been doing more of it. So now I have team players that that is their skill set, and we know kind of who we can put on the job right away. If to name names, you go, boy, is Jose ready? Is Eddie ready? Can we send them out on site? Can we get them a support team? I think I need we often work in chunks of 6 on post-construction clean. I don't know why, but usually they're big enough. Even the smaller ones, commercially speaking, are 12,000 to 20,000 square feet. I mean, pretty good sized buildings where you can easily accommodate getting in 6. And so if I can put that together, and usually I can pretty quickly, it starts it off. So now I can write a proposal. I can go visit them on site. We can take a look at it. We can walk around and see, identify, besides the things that I mentioned in the very, tight 3 categories. He goes, they're going to be any extra floor work. I have to bring in scrubbers. Sometimes in a situation where they have a lot of warehouse floor, they want to get us on a scrubber. So, okay, I got to get a ride on scrubber or a big walk behind scrubber, get the right equipment lined up. The windows, what are we looking at here? Is there a lot of crazy architecture that's going to be more difficult than just a very straightforward, single level, flat surface? Power washing, if we just need to even clean the sidewalks off, the adjacent sidewalks afterwards. These are things that can get added into a post-construction clean pretty quickly. Again, bringing them up when we're on site is perfect, where they may already have it covered, they may do it themselves, but we're having that conversation, and it often leads to, oh yeah, can you guys scrub my floor?
Yeah.
Yes, we're happy to do that. So just talking it through, and it doesn't take long to write a proposal after that, honestly.
Okay.
Again, we use Proposify as a template model that also allows us to email and see who's been checking it. They can electronically sign it, send it back in. We try to make it easy for them as well. So Proposify has helped us with that. But
fantastic.
We can knock something out pretty quickly. So that person that will call and say they want us to start next week, if we get with them, let's say next day, and walk the property another day or two and get them a proposal, line up the team with operations. We have our production meetings on Monday. That would be a topic. We already kind of know how we're going to go about it, and then we just set it in stone. And honestly, I don't think there's ever been one that we've turned down. I mean, I think I told you even when we were talking earlier, large scale residential, really nice high end residential here locally, and we kind of worked on the relationship side. They wanted to meet with me just to talk to us because they've been having problems. So, okay, let's talk. What are your pain points? And here's how we work and how we think and how we go about it. And that must have made an impression, because the owner did call me back. And it was funny because what he really needed was us to clean the next 2 days just to facilitate a customer walkthrough. So his customer, the owner, was like, I'm showing up and I want to walk through my house and I want it to be clean. So in saying yes to that, we've now put ourselves in a very good position. We're going to finish this house for him. And so far, so good. We've made the right initial, it's a key word here I'm not thinking of, impression.
Yep.
We made the initial impression with him, and so we'll get this clean. And I think the ones after, the reason they had us talk to them to begin with was we need a new cleaner, somebody we can really count on, because my clients don't accept anything except basically perfection, and so that's what we strive for. And anyway, that one worked out well because we're quick to look at it as if we can, we will. And so generally speaking, we do.
The part there's so much to unpack here. I'm going to try to keep it simple. One is there's a quick turnaround, and then you have a team that's been created in such a way where we're okay with impromptu. There's a lot of, it's interesting in a lot of companies, there's a lot of ego in there, especially as they get down the road a decade or two of, we're not going to be running out there right away. Who do they think they are? No, in this business, that's how that's going to roll. And if we're going to play an exceptional role there, that's how our team's mindset is engineered. We're very high energy. We're very flexible. And we're very much, let's get this thing done. It sounds to me, if somebody calls on a Monday and they said, owner's coming in this weekend, you would be able to accommodate. Is that in that short of time?
I'm really confident. Yes, it happens.
Okay.
It happens a lot.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's why I said my first words were, if you could call us early, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But most don't. And so usually there's about a week. Sometimes there's only a couple of days, and they're like, I need to get it started. Can you do that? And
got it.
And that might be even initially why we win the work. But we hope that we come in and do a good job, and we continue to get more work from them, which I honestly don't know how many construction companies we've done work for now, but I am confident if I said we have at least 25 different construction companies we've worked for now that would be truth. Yeah.
That's awesome. There's a thing that I love, and we used to use this in the internet website building. It's called fast tracking. So we would have them literally check a box that said, I want my online presence fast tracked. And that meant instead of weeks, we do it in days. And they would pay a lot of extra money for that. And they did. But the biggest problem in web development through that lens was getting content. Co-creating content, now we've solved that problem big time with this kind of discussion and a lot of other things. And the fast track part, is there any kind of, on your side, is there any extra fee to do things quickly, or is it just part of whatever the bid process is?
No, there's no extra fee. And I came into business with a similar, people would say, and I need it right away. Like, the price is going to be double. And people would say, okay. First of all, it's tougher in cleaning. And Dave and I have talked a lot about it from the very beginning because the financial side, as it relates to cleaning, people just have a different viewpoint of it. So I think we've kind of accepted that. But there is a fair rate that needs to be applied. And especially when you ask us to come in right away, you go, well, I mean, you're definitely going to pay the fair rate. And, we'll see what it takes to get it done. But we're not going to, do a times 1.5 or something. None of that applies.
Awesome. Okay. That was a big thing because a lot of people have shared with me over time if there's an urgency. It just goes back to shipping. If you go on UPS or FedEx and you want something delivered overnight, it's 3 to 10 times more than it is over the course of what they call saver mode.
Yeah. One time post-construction, they wanted us to work on a holiday where I told him we'd already given the staff the day off. If he wanted them to come in, it would be, let's just apply a holiday rate. It'd be twice as much, and I'll pay them twice as much for asking them to do it if they're willing. And they were, and he got what he needed.
Wow, okay.
So that's the only time I can remember ever actually just duplicating the numbers to go, well, you just asked us last minute to work a holiday, and that would be a favor by all standards, all the way down to the cleaner, who I'm not going to stiff them. No. I'm going to pay them extra if they want to do it, and he accommodated us to do that. Well,
I just want to share with you as we start to wrap up today, that is such a tell on the first part of our big frame, great relationships. Yeah. Okay. Is that a real legitimate request? Fine. We're going to go to our team. And are you okay with paying double for holiday? And we'll go to our team and see what we can do. And this is the last minute. That's a big piece to this puzzle. But a lot of people have that question. And not that we want immediate people calling us. We prefer that there's some time in front of this, that we can plan things out and do things the right way. But it is accommodating. You are accommodating, and we'll try to make things work through that lens. Anything else you want to add as we?
No, a lot of that's the experience to be able to do it. And talking about our teams, instead of viewing it as they want what? Don't they know we're already busy? I work with people who love the challenge. I'm not kidding. When I go back to my operations team and go, can you get me 6 people Thursday? Their response is, are you kidding? Are you going to ask me that again? I told you I can always get you people. That's what they tell me. And so I guess I'm fortunate.
I'd have to say you're really fortunate.
Yeah. That's the kind of people you always look for. And that's why I said our team continues to get better and better.
Well, that's the part that I can't iterate enough on, is this idea that you can find people who separate. And I look at it like through the lens of ego. No, I'm not going to do that. We've done our job. We don't need to be going out there next day. That's what we're not doing. What we are doing is ooh, that's a challenge. Let's get at it.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset. It's a different culture. It's a different set of values.
It is. We've all worked with the people who are like, don't they know better? Don't they have to give us 30 days? And you're like, well, they're not. So, and I don't have that here. No, we sit around and we were like, can we do that? Yeah, of course we can do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it works here. So
I do
understand that's a blessing.
One big final question is the service areas that you support construction cleaning in. Can you just break down the cities or regions or?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have, of course, our Fort Myers office and our Naples office.
Yes.
So we have, we just finished a job in Punta Gorda. That's kind of a northern point we just did a job in Punta Gorda last week and finalized that. Worked throughout Fort Myers and Lehigh and Cape Coral, Bonita, Estero, Naples, and of course now Sanibel is back online. We've been gaining more and more workload out in Sanibel, and even Marco Island. I've been out on some new jobs for recently as they come back online from all the hurricanes and devastation. So We work that zone, Southwest Florida, pretty readily, and all the major areas.
So how far inland? Are we talking Lehigh Acres, down?
Yeah, we've had work in the Immokalee area and Lehigh area. And as you go south of that, of course, there's not a lot beyond that east side of Naples or the estero. Right.
Yeah,
so,
get some of the Everglades.
As you get up into Immokalee, and in fact, all the way up when you go north of 82,
LaBelle, Alva.
We've been all the way out to LaBelle. At a LaBelle project about 3 months ago.
Okay, and then a couple other areas. Just seeing St. Let's see here. So there's Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Beach. Those are all
absolutely a lot of work out on Fort Myers Beach right now. Okay, and of course down to Bonita Beach, I see them kind of running together. But yes, like I said, anything in that area, we're able to service.
Cool. Okay, just want to make sure we called out all the
had a Captiva house last week.
Wow. Okay, that sounds fun.
You name them, we've been there. Yeah.
Excellent. So as we wrap up, let's kind of summarize. We have developed, illustrated, broken down the power of great relationships for running a business.
Can I mention one more?
Oh, please.
North Fort Myers.
Okay.
We've been getting a lot of work in North Fort Myers lately.
Yeah.
So I should honor it with a title that it is differentiated from Fort Myers, and we do a lot of work in North Fort Myers.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
All right.
So coming back to our conclusion, we have really dove deep today on the power of great relationships, and I hope we've done justice in illustrating stories, anecdotes, these kind of things that really help people understand what great relationships look like and how they take form in a business and at a team level and at a onboarding level. And they're from top down. We've talked at length about creating, building, sustaining, and iterating great systems. And sometimes we get a job that's new, bigger than we've ever done, and we got to iterate fast. But we're going to bring purpose, passion, positivity, productivity into the mix and really aim to do a great job and be in this conversation in real time, which was a big testament to that. Then we really focused those two energies into a big segment of business for us here at Crystal Clean is construction cleaning. So as you think about our journey today, any insights, thoughts, takeaways, things that you want to make sure the listener hears from our lessons and our stories and our learnings today?
Well, from a business model, of course, you and I agree. You go the systems and the process, relationships, the intertwining of all of that. If you're looking to manage your own business or grow, along with the growth, I would say, when you learn as you grow, and you will, and if you just go ahead and adopt the mindset that there'll be learning curves and things that come up that you just kind of have to work your way through, and there's been so many of those, but it's helped us enhance all of our other commercial cleaning segments. So we have a deep history in common area cleaning, and we clean large offices. We have a good foothold in all these things, but the construction cleaning has helped us more with our window and glass cleaning and our power washing and our floor cleaning as well, because it just provides more of those opportunities. So we keep refining and growing those areas within our company as well. So kind of it's a natural process, I think, as you take on more work, even things that might be a little big and scary at first, it helps grow other things and services within a business, in our case, while we've had those skill sets, we now have it more fully and are better at it, and finding better people who learn the process along with us to next time it comes up, go, well, here's what we got with Windows, and it won't be nearly as scary, and it'll be much easier. So
I love it. I want to add a PS to this. If you're cleaning for the first time a new area, construction cleaning, and you develop, and I don't know if you do this, but this is an idea, if you develop the proper way to clean this area with the proper intervals and provide that as a guide, that seems like a next step for you to maintain that cleaning. So can you talk just a little bit about this idea of if you do a construction cleaning, they may ask you, well, can you keep this space clean and get a contract on that? So it'd be an ongoing thing. Does that happen at all?
It does happen. And
that's awesome.
There is a division, though, between the construction company that brings us in and the ownership on the building.
Yeah.
So we have had that happen. We look for that opportunity. In fact, we usually will ask, because we realize you get into a large facility, we'd love to do your recurring cleaning. And it's about a 50-50 where they go, oh, we have a cleaning company.
Okay.
Because these are different people. And by the time you get to a point within the relationship to ask or meet the right people, Often they just already have it lined up with cleaners they've used previously. So
got it.
That's just the way that it's kind of worked from what I've seen, but we are aware of it. And we have one new work, of course, where we're doing the recurring cleaning on facilities that started off as a post-construction.
Fantastic. Well, that being said, this ends this episode, Cleaning with Purpose, with the man on this beautiful day. Great systems, great relationships, construction cleaning, the service areas, and then some of our other services that are, even the quality of other services is being increased just because we're learning and applying and integrating as we move along. Final note.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.